Hi friends, Evolving Guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for following along with our collection journey. So today's video is going to just talk for a few minutes about the current state of finding Pokemon cards. Now I did talk about that in my Prismatic Evolutions video from the other day where we're opening that brand new set and how difficult it is to find that set right now. But I hope that this video is a little bit more hopeful, and I just wanted to show you some of the things that I've been able to pick up just in the last few days on store shelves. I know it can feel right now like it's impossible to find Pokemon cards, and I think it's very true that you can't find the sets that people really want, like Prismatic Evolutions, of course, is first and foremost. It's really difficult to find that at all. And if you want to pay for, double or triple MSRP on the secondary market, or even some LGSs are charging that, and so that's kind of a bummer. But I'm confident that over time, Pokemon has acknowledged that they're going to print a lot more of that set. And if you're patient and don't overpay now, if you wait long enough, I think there are going to be Prismatic Evolutions on the shelves. So Surging Sparks is in kind of a similar boat. It's really hard to find Surging Sparks just out in the wild, but I'm going to show you an example of how I did recently. But I just wanted to maybe refocus our attention and say I think it's true that some sets are really hard to find, but it's not true. I would say in my experience, it's hard to find Pokemon cards just period. And so this is maybe a video to say show some of the things I've found recently, and just to encourage us that, if you're having trouble finding the sets you really, really want, then, maybe just to cast a wider net. If you're just interested in ripping packs, I think you can find packs, and even like desirable packs. But anyway, I just wanted to walk through a few of the things I found recently on store shelves and just talk a little bit about where I like to look for cards in case it's helpful for you. So of course, maybe the first place to mention, or the first set of places, are the obvious ones like Target and Walmart as big box stores. They have Pokemon cards, and in my experience recently, it's definitely not uncommon to show up at those. I have several Targets and several Walmarts close to where I live that I can get to within just like 10 or 15 minutes. And I try to check them regularly. And yeah, recently it's very true that when you get there, the shelves can very often be empty. I think that, first of all, in both stores, at least in my local stores, check multiple places. So often they have a section near the front where they have cards, sometimes locked up, sometimes not. And then also, though, check the toy area. And sometimes even, especially at my Targets, there's even more than one location within the toy area where they might have cards. And so make sure you're checking all the locations. And then also, again, in my experience, the shelves might be empty, but often there might be things left over. So I didn't pick any of these things up to show you today, but like in my Walmart, for example, I went the other day and they did have actually a fair amount of Pokemon cards. Now it's Obsidian Flames, and it's maybe tins that have early Scarlet and Violet packs, or some of even the Sword and Shield boxes that are a little bit less desirable. But there are packs and there are cards. And so, maybe for some of you, you should expand your reach, and maybe this is a good moment to lean into some of those undervalued sets, things like Scarlet and Violet base set, or things like Obsidian Flames or Paldea Evolved, some of those early Scarlet and Violet sets, or maybe some of the, quote unquote less desirable. I think any Sword and Shield set from the second half of Sword and Shield is cool. So, maybe you're not finding Evolving Skies, but keep your eyes out for Lost Origin or Chilling Reign or Fusion Strike. Those still have great cards in them. And if you're just looking for something to open, and so, or Paradox Rift, some of the mid Scarlet and Violet sets like Paradox Rift, or Temporal Forces, those you might be able to find more readily on store shelves. So, open those packs. There's still some great cards in those sets. And, I'm a master set builder, and so maybe you've not thought about master sets, but you could start building a master set of one of those. That might be something, instead of just chasing the hits or chasing chase cards. If you are trying to build a master set, then you have incentive to open packs, even for the commons and the uncommons and the reverses and the other cards. And so that's one thing, is to check those Targets and Walmarts and make sure, don't just focus on whether they have Prismatic or whether they have Surging. Also, of course, Best Buys and GameStops I'm happy to recommend. I mean, those are also stores that are going to potentially carry cards. You can check. The nice thing about all these stores is sometimes you can check online to see if they have stuff in stock. You can maybe have pickup in store as an option and be able to get them that way. So I would say, make sure you're still checking those stores, and again, maybe expanding your horizons or expanding what you're looking for. A few other recommendations, and that kind of gets into some of the things that I have here, is Walgreens and Rite Aids. Those are stores, pharmacies. I have several locations of each chain in my area, and I don't always check them, but especially now when it's difficult to find cards, those are places that not everyone knows to look for cards. Sometimes they're behind the register in my area, and so you actually have to either ask for them or to kind of really look for them. They're not going to be in the toy area. They often don't have very large toy sections in those stores anyway. But that's actually where I found a few of these things. So, for example, these lightning sets are in Walgreens. A couple of my local Walgreens were very well stocked in these, and these are $19.99, which is actually not a bad price. I mean, you're basically paying $20 for 4 packs. Now, it depends on the pack selection, but what's kind of fun about these is they have different pack selections inside, and so you can actually look through. And so I've looked through and I found, if there's a particular set you're chasing, again, it's, occasionally you'll see on Twitter that there might be, like highly valued set like Evolving Skies or Cosmic or things like that. Cosmic Eclipse, for example. But the ones I looked at, I mean, I didn't see anything quite that exciting, but this is a good example where you've got, two Scarlet and Violet base sets and Obsidian Flame. Again, less desirable packs in some ways, but again, if you want to expand your horizons or if you just want packs to rip, not terrible. And then Chilling Reign, is a pretty decent chase pack in Sword and Shield. So again, it might be, based on market price of these packs, you're maybe overpaying a slight bit. But when you think about like a collection box, a Pokemon collection box is basically $20 for 4 packs and then a promo card. And this comes with one kind of unknown card. And so this is one example of something you might find. And again, for $20, I would say not a ripoff, like not a terrible deal. Again, not like premium deal. But again, if you're looking for packs, and also one thing I actually found in a surprising way at my local Walgreens is they had a whole bunch of Paldean Fates tins. And so these are actually pretty hard to come by. I didn't check market price on these, but these were just $9.99 at Walgreens, which is what they should be. And so 2 packs of Paldean. Paldean's actually a very hot set right now because of the Bubble Mew. And so these were just at my Walgreens, and there were a whole bunch of them, and they were not like, in danger of running out. And so that's another example of just, keeping your eyes open at these more out of the way places. And actually, one thing that was kind of surprising is, look, Surging Sparks. I found this whole stack of Surging Sparks single pack blisters, sleeve boosters at Walgreens. So again, these were just, I think because people are looking more actively for Pokemon cards at places like Target and Walmart, and maybe less so at Walgreens and Rite Aid, these were just all on the shelf, and they were $4.99 each, which again is like 50 cents above MSRP, but I don't know what MSRP or what market price on Surging Sparks is right now, but I'm pretty sure it's more than $4.99. So I got 9 of these. I cleaned them out, I will admit, because these are pretty hard to find when you see them. And so anyway, so here's another example of something I found at Walgreens. So keep your eyes open at those pharmacies in your area. A few other places to look, places like Barnes & Noble, and, again, which carry cards often behind the counter. They might be a little, the Barnes & Nobles in my area, I've checked several of them recently, and they definitely are well stocked with cards. Again, keeping in mind, I want to separate that it's really hard to find certain sets from the fact that you can't find any cards anywhere. And actually, the Barnes & Noble in my area, they had the Grand Adventure Collection, which contains 2 Surging Sparks packs. They had the Blood Moon Ursaluna EX box, the new one that has 2 Surging Sparks packs. So again, I think you can find, even some of these more coveted sets if you know how to look and where to look. And so places like Barnes might be a good place to check. In my area, we have a grocery store called Fred Meyer, and in other places there might be other stores like Meyer, I think is in the Midwest, for example. So those are also places that you might check. Again, I think in my area, the Fred Meyer, it doesn't always restock on a regular basis, and it's kind of hard to predict what they're going to have in stock. They actually still have tons and tons. The 2 Fred Meyers in my area have tons and tons of Silver Tempest sleeve booster packs. I mean, they must have got cases and cases and cases of them because they've been on the hooks for a really long time. So I have a complete set of Silver Tempest now, so I don't need to chase that as a pack. But again, keep an eye on some of these grocery store chains that might have small sections of Pokemon here and there. I even saw on Twitter recently Ace Hardware, perhaps some Ace Hardwares carry cards, and so thinking about some of these out of the way places. Now, some of those places might overcharge. I think especially like local gas stations, I've seen sometimes they might have cards, but they might be charging quite a bit above MSRP. But I think some of these chains, they're going to charge more or less MSRP for their products. So I think you can find Pokemon cards there. The last 2 things I have here are actually finds from some of those big box stores. So the Mabosstiff EX box, I don't actually know what's in there, so we're going to open that just to see what's inside. I found these at Target. And actually, I found this Pikachu collector's chest. This is the new one. It has Surging Sparks. This was at Best Buy. I was actually able to order it online, so I just checked online, and I saw that one of my local stores had these, and so I reserved it and then went in and picked it up. And so this has Surging Sparks and Twilight Masquerade packs inside. It's pretty coveted, and I actually had a Best Buy gift certificate for $10 off any item, and so I was able to, MSRP of this is 30, but I was able to pick that up for just 20 bucks, which is pretty great when you think of the value of what you're getting there. And so this video is just meant to be an encouragement. I mean, I didn't pick up every possible thing that I've been seeing on the shelves. I picked up the stuff I wanted. But again, in my case, I got this stack of Surging Sparks. I got these Paldean Fates tins. I picked this Lightning pack because it has Chilling Reign. I wouldn't probably ordinarily buy this, but it gives me a few extra packs to throw in for my daily pack openings. And then Chilling Reign of the chase packs, I went with Chilling Reign because we're still chasing a few cards in there. And again, we got this Mabastiff EX box. We're going to see what's inside. It looks like it pictures Silver Tempest and a couple early Scarlet and Violet sets. We're going to see what's inside, but these are also ones. These are 15 bucks. So basically, again, kind of that rough, that shorthand of like $5 you get one pack for every roughly $5 of value. This is actually a Black Star promo too. It's kind of hard. It's not focusing very well. There, this is number 86. So that's actually a Black Star promo from Sword. And, sometimes these way they're stored is not amazing, so it might dent the card, but you get the promo card, and then let's see what's inside. I see Paradox Rift, which is, that's actually great. That's kind of a step up. Obsidian, yeah, Scarlet and Violet base. So I was kind of hoping for Sword and Shield, like I would have preferred maybe a late Sword and Shield. But again, I think just the idea that you can find, and the code card. So you can find stuff out there in the wild. The last place I'm going to plug is your local game store. Now, I have several local game stores in my area, which I'm lucky to have. And I went in over the weekend on Friday last week to get Prismatic Evolutions. I had some pre-orders in, and I have different videos looking at Prismatic, but they pointed out that there were some people in line that were searching for Prismatic, and they were, unless you had a pre-order, I think in most cases you couldn't get additional products, and so they were a little bit constrained in that regard. But they pointed out, and I think it's true, that to people who were just looking for cards, they actually had their shelves were stocked. They had all kinds of cards. It's just they didn't have Prismatic for everyone. They didn't have Surging Sparks for everyone, but they had tons and tons of Pokemon cards. Again, all Scarlet and Violet sets, basically, except for those. They even had Twilight Masquerade sleeve boosters in stock. So Twilight, they had Paradox Rift, Paldea Evolved, Scarlet and Violet base. Essentially all the sets, Temporal Forces. Essentially all the sets except for the really high coveted ones. But again, it's an idea that if you're looking for packs, don't be too discouraged. There are things out there on the shelves. And then again, keep hustling and keep looking again if you're lucky, and looking in some of these out of the way places. You might be lucky, like I am, and to grab this set of Surging Sparks just to find them hiding behind the counter at Walgreens, things like that. So anyway, good luck with your searches out there. We're going to have separate videos looking at Prismatic, the new set, but we're going to also continue to build our master sets of these other sets. And so the packs that you're seeing in this opening, I didn't open any packs because I'm going to take these and use these for some of my Master Set Challenge Monday videos and some of the other openings. But good luck out there. Don't be discouraged. There are still cards to be found. Yeah, we're going to keep the journey going together. So thanks for watching. We'll catch you in a new video very soon.